This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Break through the busiest time of year with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus. Powered by Peloton IQ. With real-time guidance and endless ways to move, you can personalize your workouts and train with confidence, helping you reach your goals in less time. Let yourself run, lift, sculpt, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1. Yes, I've decided it's time to switch seasons. Of the 10th Divine podcast, this show connects fans and players of the Elder Scrolls games to the community at large. I'm your host, Crown Esso, and I am here today with the cat daddy himself, the user of name, JimmyJJShabadu-be-dube-doo. How do you say the last part of that, Jimmy? Because every time I read it, my brain doesn't know what to do with it.
Shabadu.
Shabadu. See, as soon as I get the Dabadoo, though, I want to go full Scooby-Doo on it.
Or sometimes Flintstones, like the Yabba Dabba Doo.
Yeah. Yeah, Flintstones, yeah, for sure. How are you doing this week, Jimmy?
I'm doing all right. Been quite a week. I'm looking forward to the weekend, finally getting a chance to get away from the work and just sit down, have some fun, do some streaming.
My week has been interesting in a weird way. Little things have been askewed, so scheduling things have been kind of weird between me and the wife and the different volunteering things that we do. It's been everything's worked out, but it's definitely been this constant oh, is this gonna not work because of this? And then everything's ironed out real smoothly, but it's just been this weird temptation of everything going wrong and then not. Which, I'm okay with the not going wrong part. I think I'd be remiss, Jimmy, if I didn't ask what your cats' names are. I don't know your cats very well. So, calling you the cat daddy, I think I have to have you tell the listeners what your cats' names are.
I have two kitties. The eldest of the two, her name is Mia. She's about 17 years old now. The youngest is named Sylvie, and she's just turning 2.
Nice.
In fact, I got both of them in here. Mia's off to my left over here, and then I've got Sylvie nestled in the keyboard trough in front of my monitor here. So I'm doing my best not to disturb her because she's asleep and I don't want to bug her.
That's fun. My cat used to come into the office, but the opposite corner here, there's a window, and she used to get up into there all the time. But something happened when we weren't home. And I haven't touched the things that have fallen onto the desk since whatever happened. And she hasn't gone back up there since.
Oh, no.
So I think if I cleared the space off where she knocks stuff down, she might go up again. But she hasn't gone even come in here to see if I've moved the stuff. So I'm not really sure what happened. But apparently Dad's office is a no-go zone now.
Yeah, didn't really understand that. Sometimes Sylvie gets pretty frightened of random things, and then she won't get anywhere near them for a while, and then eventually she'll warm up to them. But it takes time. It's one of those things where they really have to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I didn't want another cat when we got this one, but because of that I got to name her. So ours is named Azabi.
Oh.
And if my wife somehow manages to convince me I need a second cat, the other one will have to be Fizz. So She already understands that's what's going to happen. So I think that's why we haven't gotten another cat. It's because she's like waiting for me to not want to name it that. Before getting to regular show items, I just have to say that when last week's episode with Minui Pro, it took a long time to edit due to two things. I didn't check that my mic's EQ is working, and I built these all new assets for the video side of things. So if you haven't checked out a video episode of the podcast, I do invite you. You can see videos now on Spotify, or you can go over to the YouTube channel and go check that out. If you haven't found our YouTube channel, go over there, like a video, subscribe, make a comment, make some noise. That's helpful for the podcast, so I appreciate that. And we also have a new logo, which I have started featuring and updating across the social medias, as thanks to a fellow, or actually I can't even say fellow, an individual named Sumbod3. They reached out to me saying, hey, I'm an artist and I'm looking to supplement my income with some commissions. Do you need any artwork? And I was like, sure. I have this idea for the podcast logo to add a third constellation into it, because previously you just had two constellations representing the previous host of the show. And so we inspired it with the current champion point system, and I think it turned out pretty great. And also still pays homage to the previous show logos. So I thought they turned out pretty all right. Jimmy, is there anything that you've gotten up to in game that you're like really excited about, or was awesome, or did you jump into PTS recently and you're excited about some things that you've seen there?
I've been on PTS for a few weeks now, testing out the night market. I've been having a lot of fun with it for the most part. Got in with a group and we tried out the Opulent Ordeal trial-like instance and had a lot of fun with it. It was very puzzle-like, not super strenuous, although there were some difficult parts that required you to kind of like, find this thing and then go and deal with it. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but I think people are going to have a good time with it.
Yeah, I myself have not checked into... I actually have a computer that could do PTS, but I actually don't play on PC anymore, or ever. I've been an Xbox guy, so it's never been a thing for me. I've hemmed and hawed about taking that step, but what was there anything about the night market that stood out to you as unique, or was it all okay? I see how this ties back into other things that we've done, or do you think they're holding off on the more wild ideas for the first go at it?
It seemed like they were going to try a few new things. There are a few puzzle-like things that you can encounter while you're walking around, which took me by surprise. I had fun engaging with those, trying to figure out the little puzzles and their solutions. So that a lot of them do tend to require more people than just myself. So trying to play around with them and see what they do by my lonesome turned out to be a little bit of a stretch, but we were able to get a few people together and at least like get a ball from one end of the room to the other and do a few other odds and ends. Really digging one of the traveling bosses, especially in the sand area. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to check that out, but it's
that sounds interesting. I don't know. It's each time the night market comes back, you get to change factions, right? That was the thing with that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. You like choose a faction, and it's the faction you stick with for that entire campaign of the night market, and then the next time it rolls around, you get to select a new one.
Do you have any particular feelings on the seasons, or do you think it's just the natural evolution of where gaming's at as an industry, or do you think it's a good thing? What's your feel on it, Jimmy?
I'd like to say cautiously optimistic. I've always been in that situation where it feels like you need to give certain things time to bake, and I always wonder, like, when we're dealing with agile processes and trying to get things out there more immediately for feedback, that's always a good thing from this perspective. Okay, I want to take this information and feed this back and make my product better. But I feel like the PTS is kind of a little stilted for that, because it's oftentimes at a state where most of the mechanical aspects of it have been kind of locked in, and it's just about basically dialing in things, fixing bugs. Maybe there's some room for some minor changes, but there's usually it doesn't really feel like there's always a time for, like, say, this isn't working, we need to take a step back. So we didn't really see too much in the current PTS that really just said, "Hey, put on the brakes" or anything. But there have been situations before where it's like they think this needs a little bit more time to bake. They made some changes way back in a couple patches before where they did heavy attack. Uh, rebalancing, and then they just ended up having to pull it out entirely before going live with it because it just didn't gel with what the way the game was playing. So
Hmm.
gives you a little time to play with it, a little time to experience with it. But I do always wonder if there's just enough time, and now 4 weeks, very compressed time frame to actually provide feedback and iterate on software. So they,
Yeah.
that's the scary part of it for me.
Your day job gives you kind of a different perspective on some of that too, having
Yeah.
more of a technical expertise than say I do as a construction worker. So it's like it's interesting to hear. I can already tell that you have more of a technical background just from the way you talk versus the way I speak. So like, it's very curious to me to listen to it. Looking back though on Elder Scrolls and our 10 years of ESO history, what has been your favorite chapter or DLC release?
I can't say I'm the not. I can't say that I'm the cat dad unless I say Elsewhere, especially the Northern Elsewhere part. That was one of my favorites. Getting to know all the different first stocks, and on top of that, I mean dragons. I mean the way that they put together. They had a whole bunch of making of vignettes as they were going through the different ESO lives, and I just dug listening to that and trying to figure out like how do they get the dragons to work that way. And apparently there's a whole lot of customization there that we aren't even privy to. So
Mhm.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've done dragon hunting for like guild events, but I still haven't touched the storyline for Northern Elsewhere at all. Um, for my Khajiit, I feel like I want to finish the Dark Brotherhood with her and then go do Elsewhere with the Khajiit. Uh, in my mind, that storyline makes sense for the Khajiit to play, not so much my Argonian main. Try to avoid deserts. I like my scales nice and soft and moist. But
Same ways, my friend.
so that's kind of where I'm at with that. I know just even traveling through the zone, it's actually for a desert, more or less. It's very beautiful, and like
Oh yes.
I always appreciate like in general, ESO is a beautiful game. Have you been playing ESO like since beta or like when did you come into the game?
I started playing it. God, I want to say it was like the February 2nd public beta. I think that's when they brought me in. I remember they had done a large scale test of Cyrodiil during that time, so they were trying to get as many people as they could crammed into the server to try to stress test it, and had a great time with just learning the way the systems work. Found a few bugs which didn't make it to live, so that's great. And on top of that, there was kind of like an interesting camaraderie, especially with people who were playing around there. Tried a few of the dungeons, and probably the most memorable part of the whole thing to me was kind of like at the end of the stress test where they were winding down. People would gather in the various capital cities and just throw a big rave on the boats in Aradon until the servers finally went down.
Nice. So that being in mind, so you've seen the whole evolution of the game, and um, again, being a console player, I have a little bit less of the time spent on there. But which subsystem that we've gotten over the few years has been your favorite or your standout?
Is a tough question there. I'd say I have enjoyed Antiquities to some extent because it kind of combines a bit of the lore aspects of the game that I kind of enjoyed as an RPR way back when, with some of the cool new gear and functionality that I do enjoy while I'm playing in trials and dungeons and whatnot. I'd say that's probably like one of the things that has hit the best for me. There, um, take that whatever whatever it will be.
Mm-hmm. That was Minwi from a lore perspective agrees. Yeah, that was what he said on the last episode of the show. And then he said though his opinion actually I'd forgotten that jewelry wasn't always the way it is because it's been so long. And he had mentioned which actually didn't make it into the final episode, but he mentioned how jewelry was probably the biggest system as far as like quality of life changes, that he was really like, yeah, no, that one we needed. And until he said it, I had completely forgotten the jewelry wasn't the way it is. So that was kind of entertaining.
Couldn't craft jewelry. The only way to source it was from dungeon and trial equipment way back when.
When you're playing Elder Scrolls Online, what's your favorite type of event? Because we have so many events in this game. But like, what's your favorite kind of event?
I like ones that get people to try a variety of different systems and game types. My preference right now has been more for dungeons and trials. That's been kind of my bread and butter. Whenever I go into try something new, I always try to do the new trials, the new dungeons, and whatnot. So I liked, and I'd want to see them do something similar with Solstice at some point. I like the zone focused events. Like we had one for Necrom, we had one for Westfield. We have not had one for Solstice, which gave you like double drops in the dungeons and the trials that were corresponded to the to that content. Hoping to see something in Solstice, but we'll have to wait and see.
I also enjoy those. Things like New Life. I usually use that for like getting myself out of a lull if I've been kind of backing off on play. Except for this last year, I was so busy at Christmas I didn't even touch New Life. I'm like, So, can't try to keep things going, but you can't always keep up with everything. That's the sad reality of life.
It's like spinning plates can only keep so many up in the air.
You know what? You're the first person I've heard reference spinning plates in a long time. I have used that reference a lot, and people just look at me like I got three heads. And I'm like, what? You don't... Oh, so then you like bring up a video of somebody spinning plates, and people are like...
Is that a thing?
Why would anybody even try that? Like, I don't know, it's like juggling, but different. Like, why would anybody try to juggle? I don't know. This is a thing.
Maybe we are of a different generation.
It might be.
Our generation spinning plates might be some other generations standing on one foot while driving or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what the equivalent is. If anybody has an equivalent statement for juggling everything in life, by all means, drop that in the comments of the episode. I'd love to hear some other turn of phrase for that as well. Speaking of a turn of phrase, and this is a great segue, when I was reading your stream bio, I really enjoyed, one is a software engineer by day and a gamer by night. The other is a cat who likes to nap on the keyboard. Together they fight crime. And I loved the fight crime part because it made it feel like the introduction to like a poorly crafted crime thriller film, maybe freshly into the colored era of film industry.
Yeah, just on the edge of the film noir and into more illustrative and comical things. Sorry, my cat just wandered into frame. So yeah, it's she knows.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, she is. She no longer walks so much on the keyboard as much as she walks on top of a plexiglass container I put on top of the keyboard. So that seems to have curtailed her pressing of the buttons while giving her just the excitement she wants about being on top of the keyboard.
Nice. That's smart. I always enjoy seeing what different things people come up with. Like at Christmas time, you always see the videos of everyone's different anti-cat methods. This one person basically just built a chicken coop around their Christmas tree, and then the cats were climbing up the chicken while they're still trying to get to the Christmas tree. I'm like, man, I've never had a cat hate a Christmas tree that bad. Like, we had one that would hide in it, would never like touch anything, but you would all of a sudden realize you were being watched. And you'd look in the Christmas tree and just see the two little beady eyes from the depth of the Christmas tree, but would never mess with any of the ornaments. And it was probably more horrifying, honestly. I would have rather he wrecked something. At least then I knew where he was, right? But
Reminds me of my old cat Boomer. He loved to just get into various decorations, and Christmas trees were his favorite thing to assail, to climb. And I have this one picture of him looking like head sideways around a red Christmas ornament. So you see these two eyeballs right behind it, and then his head's like sideways, and just this big round red Christmas ornament right in front of his face. So it looks like I can send you a picture later, but it's hilarious.
That sounds awesome. It's fun when you can get cool pictures like that of your animals. It's always a kind of a cool thing. So, when it comes to your background in software engineering and the gaming and the playing and then all the fun things, what would you say is the benefit and the deficit as being a Twitch streamer and having a background in software engineering?
I think in some ways you kind of see how things kind of come together a little bit, and in other ways you try to figure out, okay, how would I have gone about this differently? One of my favorite things to kind of tool with are systems that let you export data from the game out and onto your PC, because then you can just kind of take that data and use it to, in my case, I use it to drive an overlay that counts my deaths in a trial with using the ESO logs. So just basically, yeah, as I'm running encounter log, I have a service running in the background that chews through the file every so often, and it's like, oh, Jimmy died. Pop up on screen, a big red thing, and play the Elden Ring death sound.
I've seen it. I didn't realize like how that would work because again, not my field of expertise. That's really neat. Um, so, is there a deficit at all to having that background?
Let's see. I'd say if anything, I become a bit more critical of things, and I try to keep it more centered on, like, okay, I realize that this was generated with so much time, so many dev hours. And it's like sometimes you're given something with a very tight timeline, and that's the rough part. Is like, how do you break down something that can be very complicated into something that's manageable and feasible in say 7 weeks, 7 sprints, however you want to call it, depending on your workflow. But it can be quite rough. So, if anything, I get to be a bit more critical about that, but at the same time, I also understand where they're coming from with the constraints you tend to be under when it comes to software development. So I'm a bit more understanding of like the frustrations that go into like trying to deliver a product on under a tight crunch.
Yeah. It's always interesting. Like I said, I have construction background as my stuff, and then you'll. I also I'm certified for home inspection, and even though I've never gotten my licensing in that and like done it for work, I still find myself whenever I go to a new house being like do 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 and like still inspecting a house, and it's like I don't need to be doing this. Like you could just walk into a person's house and just be in their house. You don't have to inspect it. And then my wife will catch me doing things like how I'm moving my feet across the floor to feel for level and stuff like that. And she's like, "Stop it!" Oh, sorry.
We're just wired that way. It's
Mm.
just
It's funny how the brain like gets stuck in routines and stuff. It's quite entertaining. So, Jimmy, what is it like being on the stream team for Elder Scrolls Online, and now as of is it a year now that you've been a partner, or just over?
Fish partner. Yeah, it's been a year back in January.
Nice. Yeah. So, what's it like being a streamer that's reached those levels of notoriety with a stream team for your favorite game and a Twitch partner now?
It's quite exciting. I didn't really think or expect that I would get there. You always put in for the opportunity in the hopes that you can get there. And the biggest thing that I can really say, or like a takeaway from that, is definitely make friends with people. Uh, some of the biggest advice I was ever given that I think I've heard parroted by many a streamer over, it's not competition, it's cooperation, it's community, it's building those bridges and those roads to to help kind of reinforce the good things we love about the things that we care about, the things we play, and the technology that we have out there to share that with others is just so impressive now. It's really quite incredible.
Yeah, I try to explain Twitch to my parents sometimes, and at some point the gloss goes over their eyes, and I have to change topics. And like, my parents aren't terribly old, but it's just not in their wheelhouse at all, so it does kind of go away. Um,
Yeah, I try to field it from the perspective of something I think my parents enjoy. Like my dad used to really love playing with like CB radios way back when. So it's like I try to phrase it around like, okay, remember when you used to play with the CB radio you like to listen to, sometimes broadcast, and you had to get your FCC license and stuff like that. Very similar in that respect. It's just that you're doing this instead, and instead of talking to people over the airways, you're talking to potentially hundreds of people out on the internet. You're kind of putting yourself out there still, but it's a lot of experimenting, getting to know your technology, and just learning, having fun.
yeah. It's funny you bring up the CB radios. We were just talking about my grandfather and things he used to do earlier today.
Yeah.
And yeah, CB radios was a thing for him. They lived in a converted Greyhound for a while, so like they had a CB radio, and that's how all the snowbirds would communicate with each other and do check-ins and stuff. But yeah, I kind of had forgotten about that. Aside from rising tide lifts all boats kind of mentality and community networking, what's another lesson or insight you've learned in your streaming journey?
Uh, Never be afraid to tear something down that doesn't seem to be working, and that's a lesson I'm continually learning. I have been doing a lot of rework on my stream the last few years, really, just kind of cleaning things up. I uh, been working on refining some of my scenes, trying to basically reduce the memory footprint of my OPS software because it's just been careening out of control. So I managed to, over the course of like a month, kind of reduce a lot of that footprint by using nested scenes and playing around with things like that. Now my next project is to change out my audio stack based off of moving out of one mixer into another audio interface. So oftentimes I find myself relearning that lesson. It's like, okay, if this is not working, just start from scratch, kind of pull it all apart and see what makes it tick, and just work on building it back up again, hopefully better than it was before.
Um, in my previous trade work, this was a lesson that I would hate having to relearn. It's you're like, I can just make it work, and then you're like, I should have just taken this apart. I should have never tried to make this work. And you're like shaking your head at yourself, like, "Ah, you knew better. Why didn't you just do that? You knew better." You, you, Jimmy, what are some other, or are there any other hobbies or facts about yourself you'd like to share with people about the great Jimmy JJ?
I don't think I've already mentioned it, but I'm an avid software enthusiast. I'm learning new things all the time, from different programming languages to new paradigms involving LLMs and AI, and trying to figure out how to structure things with an eye for um, automation. One of the interesting things I've been kind of working around right now is trying to get kind of like a pass and response kind of basically like a chat bot, which I could chat with directly and get responses back, and actually get it to be heard on stream and not just having something read back to you. So it's like it's been a bunch of moving parts. I've been playing around with it, but I've been using workflow software called N8N for a while, and been kind of a weird way to play with various different methods of integrating AI with some of my older software that does text to speech, and getting them all to kind of gel with each other. It's been kind of a learning experience, but also very, very much a confusing thing at times, because I'm always having to go and try to figure out, okay, how did this work before, and now how do I get this piece to talk to that piece? It's a lot of building different blocks and learning how to code in Python and in JavaScript has been pretty helpful with resolving some of that issue.
Sorry, what did you say that was called again?
It's called N8N. It's based on I think Node.js. It's a automation software that lets you build workflows in a block diagram kind of way, as opposed to just writing code. But sometimes you have to write code if you've got an old piece of software you want to have it talk to, and at that point, it's like, well, you got to write the code, otherwise it won't reach out to it.
That's neat. Outside of my wheelhouse, my kids do something called scratch coding, and it sounds similar with blocks. I don't know what the program is that they use, but I get talked to about it a lot, and I don't envy their educators because I get lost when the kids talk about it. So, that's always good.
It's great to have those conversations with your kids as well, because they can be as much learners as well as teachers.
Yes, sometimes I question the teaching methods. My kids could learn some more teaching methods. A lot of times, my oldest one at the house is 13, so sometimes he just kind of like talks at you, and you're like,
I see.
what? Context? That's something that we were always working on in our house. Context. He goes, back it up. What are we talking about? Oh, coding you're doing at schooling. Okay, now my mind is on that. Okay, now the sentence that you just threw at me. It's always fun when kids just walk into the room and just start saying something at you, and you're like, what? I didn't even know you were in the house. Why? What? This is how I know I'm getting older too, because it used to be like I could get caught up real quick, and it's just not quite as quick as the kids get older.
I suppose I had a touch of that too growing up, and what kind of helped me join my love of technology to what I'm doing now. What helped me bridge that gap was learning how to do public speaking. I took a course in public speaking through my work, and then eventually we found out we had a Toastmasters group nearby. So I spent maybe a good part of 3 years just kind of participating, sometimes kibitzing, but mostly just trying to get my feelers around like what works in certain audience settings. And one of the fun parts about that was that it's kind of in an environment where there was just like no judgment. It's just like we're here all to learn, and we all make mistakes. We'll own them, we'll learn from them, but yet just keep whatever flubs that you do in this meeting, and we'll work out like how we can improve that. There's a lot to be said about that, so might be an opportunity or an option just to suggest like, hey, if you want to learn how to communicate this more effectively, maybe consider such options as like public speaking, because that kind of helps bridge the gap.
Yeah, I actually don't know if we have a Toastmasters here. The last community we lived in, I just discovered Toastmasters, and then we moved. So then I never ended up participating at the last place that we lived in. All right, Jimmy, I'm going to move over to my mid-break. I'm going to record that, and then we'll get jumping into the for funsies questions.
Yeah.
Hey, folks. I am still looking for members of the Elder Scrolls community to come on to the show and be interviewed. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I could talk in front of a camera, or I could talk but I don't like a camera, you can go back and look at the episode with Wheat Farm Girl. We just threw up a picture of her character from ESO, and we just recorded audio, and it's still a great episode, and we talked about housing. So, we can work around whatever's hesitating you. It's always good to get out there and try new things. Maybe you're just like, hey, maybe I would like to try what podcasting feels like. That's good enough reason to get you on the show when we talk about Elder Scrolls Online. Reach out to me through the show's socials. That was almost a tongue twister for me. And we'll find a time slot that works for both of us, and we'll get you on the show. And I think that'd be great. Just a quick reminder, you can always check out our friends over at railbutsradio.net for a enormous amount of podcasts. Just the network is huge, so go on over there if you're looking for something. If you like different types of video games, different types of histories and lore things, There's so much stuff on the network there. And of course, our friends over at Bonus Roll have their network as well, which is all focused on MMO-based video games at bonusroll.gg. The Elder Heroes Extra Life stuff is on the go already this year. We got the team's page up, my page is up. Already sitting at ourselves, I think, just under $200 because I didn't look, but something around that mark. We've set ourselves a lofty goal of hitting $10,000 this year. Last year we broke $50,000 in 5 years, but our numbers have been kind of all over the place. So this year I've set a goal of $10,000 for the team. It's my second year as the team's captain, and apparently I like to punish myself with goals. So we're gonna see if we can hit that this year and hit the 60K in 6 years. And if I could keep that momentum going up, the 10th year is gonna be something we're going to have to like get Lotus and I in the same place to actually celebrate if we keep that up for sure. All right, Jimmy, for funsies questions, I have added a bonus 9th question. What is the zone that you would consider furthest from home for you in Elder Scrolls Online?
Say, since I live in sunny Southern California, my anywhere near snow would be kind of top on my list there. Would say anything in the Skyrim regions, especially the areas of Hrothgar and above. A little cold for my person. Not sure what to say other than that.
As somebody who lives in actual Skyrim, yeah, I can understand that. What has been your favorite NPC to be out of any game? Doesn't have to be ESO. It could be the mainstays as well.
Well, I'd be remiss not to mention Razumdar. He's been, as one does. He is quite an interesting fella, and I do love it when they bring him back, even for a cameo or a quest here and there. It's been one of my favorites.
Do you have a second favorite?
Let's see. Would probably say maybe Naryu for much the same reason. She tends to be pretty sassy and quick-witted. Always willing to like keep you on the edge of your seat, and then eventually turn the sticks on you if you get too rowdy or rambunctious.
Ooh, I just thought of a bonus question. I'm just going to throw at you, and I should add this into the presentation. Of our companions that we have now, we actually have a plethora of those now. Which one's your favorite companion?
Let's see. I'd say probably Ember. I think she's kind of one of the more bubbly and rambunctious ones. I really did enjoy Darkest Night. His Sharpest Knife. My bad. I felt his motivations, especially his ribs at you whenever you fail. Like he tells you, like, if you die, I'm taking your stuff, or something to that effect. If you're really low on health, and they'll occasionally rib you with the skill issue if you die or whatnot.
Yeah, I have. That's another thing I haven't spent much time with is like any of the other ones. I got the two newest ones. The Garland Girl and the Necromancer Kitty. But names do not stay in my brain, so that's what they are. We have such a plethora of outfits and costumes and armors and all these fancy things you can dress in Nirn. If you could bring an outfit from the game to reality, what would that be?
Good gosh. I hadn't really put too much thought into this one. I kind of like the way that we're able to kind of spin costumes into various things. I like to make like cosplay characters. Like I made one with the Shredder, which had like bits of like the ancient Daedric plus the Battlegrounds Dragon one. So I'd say if anything, it would be some combination of what I threw together on my my tank for the Shredder. Kind of looks like the 1980s villain from the cartoon way back then.
That is, I love that it's not a specific outfit, but like this custom one I have, I would like that. I like that. That's awesome. Now, is there anything that we have for clothing or outfits in our world that you think should be somewhere in Nirn?
I'd probably say capes, but then somebody would clap back and say no capes.
Capes have a place, otherwise we wouldn't have capes in historical reference.
That's fair.
I mean, I understand no capes for superheroes. There's a whole montage
Yes.
against the capes for superheroes.
The safety issue.
Yeah. I just my brain just thought of like a Wamasu grabbing you by the cape and throwing you backwards. So there you go. That's why you wanted to check your capes. I mean, technically, it should be able to grab my tail then as an Argonian and pull me back too.
True.
I just thought, do we have any lore that suggests that Argonians can drop their tails like geckos?
Can't think of any offhand. We'll have to go pouring over a USB later and find out.
Right? I feel like if that's not a thing, we should definitely have an offshoot tribe that has mastered that skill. And I feel like that should be in the next Elder Scrolls. And you just like have to go around finding tail pieces to try and track down like a lost tribe of Argonians.
Create a version of the Argonian race, which has a racial passive to shed their tail if they're in danger.
Yeah. I think that actually could be kind of fun. And then it would have like the longest cooldown ever because you have to grow your tail back. And none of your armor would sit right because it's missing your tail to hold it up. That could be actually really kind of fun.
I know a guy I can suggest that to. I'll see what I can do.
So, Jimmy, if you were turned into a pie, what type of pie would it be?
Something with layers. Probably something with a phyllo dough crust because there's a lot of layers there.
When you said a lot of layers, I was like, an onion pie? 'Cause, you know.
Or a parfait. Or an ogre.
Mm-hmm. Nice. It's funny how certain things in pop culture just stay in your head forever.
Yeah.
What is your favorite?
Rent free in the head. Oh, good.
Yeah, rent free. Yes. What is your favorite time of day, Jimmy?
Dusk.
Dusk.
Sun setting and just everything's starting to cool down from the afternoon and just kind of we're bringing an end to the workday. Nice time to kind of hang out in the cool air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there can be. I like in places that get twilight, which are not all the places up here. I like that phase where you can still see the sun, but also you see like the blanket of stars coming in at that point in time. Yeah, that's always nice.
I live with in an area that has too much light bleed from the surrounding cities. So if anything, we see a few stars and then a whole kind of bluish grayish spectrum of light that just kind of reflects off the sky.
Yeah, I don't have the light pollution problem. I just have I'm too far north, so it's either daylight or night.
Gotcha.
If you were stuck doing a singular exercise, and that was the only one you could ever do, jumping jacks or crunches, which one would you prefer?
Neither? Can I say neither? I have to do one. Probably jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Crunches tend to be a bit more painful in the midsection, and I've got to work on that still. But at the same time, I think jumping jacks gives you a bit more of an opportunity to work out a lot of the different areas, and don't necessarily have to just lean on the standard ones, I guess. But
yeah. I broke my tailbone one time rolling up from laying on my back into a sitting position, so like crunches don't sound appealing to me at all. So I go with jumping jacks too. Yeah, doing yoga of all the things, I broke my tailbone.
Got numb doing the prone cobra, what do you call it, core exercise once, and that went to the doctor, talked about it, and it's like his suggestion was, "Hey, just don't do it anymore." Okay.
Yep. How's the joke go? If it hurts, don't do it. Mm.
Yep.
All right, Jimmy. Best dad joke.
Best dad joke. Gosh, I'm usually spontaneous with these dad jokes, and I just don't have one on me right now. Let's see here. About
could just be your favorite.
What do cats watch on TV? On order.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense.
It's got bumped by my cat, so she didn't like it either. That means it was a good joke.
Perfect. All right. We're recording this on the Saturday before the Super Bowl. And I have a bonus question of you. If each capital of each zone in ESO had a football team, which one do you think would have the most title wins?
Good question. Let's see. Really a big sports ball guy, so I'm like trying to think like, okay, usually it's an animal and some sort of oh, hello. Here she comes again. Let's see. Let's go with the High Rock Smashers. How about that?
Ooh, High Rock Smashers. I like that. And what do you think? Why do you think the High Rock Smashers would have the most title wins?
I think that maybe mostly because they have the heart to take it all the way.
Nice. I like it. I like it. I was thinking like, how do you not name something in the Black Marsh be like the Florida Panthers essentially? But it's like that's where my mind was stuck in. I was actually kind of leaning towards though like. At first I thought orcs, something to do with Hrothgar. And then I was like, well, maybe Nords. But then I was like, well, that's two on the nose just because they're the big bulky guys. So it's got to be like something like down in the Black Marsh. And then the only reason that their team does good is because they have like one Argonian on the whole team and the rest of the team are actually sports people imported from other areas.
One ringer.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate getting together with you and getting to have this little chat. And where can our listeners get in touch with you if they want to come check out your stuff?
I'm available on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/JimmyJJShabadu. Also, I'm working on YouTube as well at the same name. I am also available in game on PCNA at the Lone Wolf 26. It's my old name way back when. I do have Jimmy JJ Shabadu, but it's a collection of bank alts and crafters. So there you go.
Nice.
So yeah, thank you. I think it's been a great pleasure being here. Thank you again.
No worries. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the show. If you've enjoyed it, please let others know, and you can leave us a review wherever you're listening to us. Rating and reviewing the show is what will help other people find it. And like I said, if you'd like to come on the show, reach out, let us know. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and on YouTube. You can reach us with at 10th Divine Podcast. You can email us 10thDivinePodcast@gmail.com. You can also find me with at Crown SOESS0 in all of those places, as well as on Twitch. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to ko-fi.com/thepiercefamily, PEARCE, and we'll be back in approximately a fortnight with another chat about Elder Scrolls. Top scenes. Bye.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. Join host Evan Ross Katz on the official podcast for FX's new series, Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, and go behind the scenes with cast and special guests, featuring Sarah Pigeon, Paul Anthony Kelly, Grace Gummer, and Naomi Watts. FX's Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, wherever you listen to podcasts.